The United States is the largest economic unit in the world. Responsible stewardship of our economy requires that we maintain our superpower status, not only in terms of military capability, but in equally important areas such as the strength and solvency of our economy and the educational and physical health of our population, and also a firm commitment to our moral principles and our spiritual values. Strength in all these areas is vital to maintain our status in the world. Unfortunately, and sadly, we fail in most of these areas, even though our political leadership consistently, and particularly I might say presidential candidates, consistently boast that America's exceptionalism is such that we are the greatest nation on earth. We are number one, they say. Such extreme boastfulness from an individual would seem aberrant. The same psychological judgment is applied to nations. Aberrant behavior in an individual or in an organization clouds their perception of reality. Number one, sadly, in most categories, the United States is not even in the top 10. Data from 2004 shows, in education, the United States ranks 49 in literacy, 28th out of 40 developed countries in mathematical literacy. Europe surpassed the United States a decade ago as the largest producer of scientific literature. Yet in 2004, Congress cut the National Science Foundation budget, resulting in the issuance of 1,000 fewer grants. Foreign applications to American graduate schools declined 28%, while increasing substantially in Europe. Graduate school students from China dropped 56%, from India 51%, from South Korea 28%. However, the most devastating statistic I can give you with respect to education and how it affects our future as a nation is the fact that 30% of American children do not finish high school. This was front page on the cover of Time magazine 6 months ago. Let me repeat, 30% of America's children do not graduate from high school. They are condemned to a substandard economic existence. We fare no better in healthcare. The World Health Organization ranked the U.S. 37th for overall health performance and 54 for health fairness. Yet the United States spends more capital on a per capita basis for health care than any other nation in the world. The U.S. and South Africa, mind you, are the only two developed nations in the world that do not provide health care for all their citizens. The U.S. now ranks 22nd in childhood poverty, or second to last among developed nations. Only Mexico ranks lower. The United States is 41st in the world for infant mortality. Cuba scores higher. Women are 70% more likely to die in childbirth in the United States than in Europe. Even in the economic arena, we fare no better. In 1980, the U.S. ranked last in the growth rate of total compensation to its workforce among the 20 most developed countries in the world. In 1990s, the U.S. average compensation grew only an anemic 0.1%. Of the global 500 companies, Fortune 500 companies, 61 of the 140 largest companies are European. Only 50 are American. Japan, China, Taiwan, and South Korea hold 40% of U.S. government debt. The reality is, and this is the sad part, the reality is the United States is number one only in weaponry, in consumer spending, in government and personal debt, in the number of people we have in prison, and I must say, in delusion. Those who seek national leadership positions must tell Americans the truth. Americans can handle the truth. Having reliable information is the only way to dispel the fear-based culture clouding reality that our leaders have drugged us with over the last 60 years. We are a moral and a fair-minded people. As a nation, we must put aside our arrogance and demand that our leaders work together with other nations and peoples, treating them as equals. There's no way to reverse the environmental threat of global warming, a threat more real than nuclear proliferation. In the global village, the United States produces the most pollution and supplies the greatest amount of weaponry. We have a failure of leadership, a leadership that fails to face reality.